Welcome back to the rarest coins. Today, we're going back in time to uncover the incredible story of a small copper coin that shocked the coin collecting world. We're talking about the 1969 D. Lincoln penny, a coin most people wouldn't think twice about. But one rare version of this exact penny has made headlines and stunned collectors when it reportedly sold for an unbelievable $1.7 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. A penny, just 1 cent. That ended up being worth more than a luxury sports car, a beach house, or a lifetime of salaries for most people. So how did this happen? What makes the 1969 D. Lincoln penny so valuable? And could you possibly have one of these rare coins in your own pocket change right now? Let's take a closer look at the history, the mystery, and the million-dollar value behind this fascinating piece of American currency. First, some background. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person on the obverse. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin became an American icon and has been in production ever since. Now fast forward to 1969. It was a historic time in America. The Vietnam War was in full swing. The space race was nearing its climax, and the counterculture movement was sweeping across the country. In the middle of it all, the U.S. Mint was still churning out billions of coins, including the Lincoln penny. In 1969, two main mints were producing these coins, Philadelphia and Denver. The Denver Mint version carries a small D mint mark under the date, identifying where it was made. In that year, the Denver Mint produced over 4 billion pennies. So, at first glance, the 1969 D penny seems anything but rare. Billions were struck. Millions are still out there. But this is where things take a fascinating turn. Somewhere in that massive sea of pennies, a small number were struck with errors so rare and so dramatic that they've become the stuff of legend in the coin collecting world. One in particular, a 1969 D. Lincoln penny with an extraordinary doubling error, became the focus of national attention. This penny wasn't just a minor variation. It featured an incredibly bold double die on the front of the coin. To explain, a double die occurs when the coin's die, the metal stamp that imprints the design, is misaligned during production, causing a second image to be struck on top of the first. The result? The lettering on the coin appears twice, slightly offset, creating a ghost-like effect that collectors call a double die. In this case, the doubling on the 1969 D penny was dramatic and obvious. The words, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the date, 1969, were all visibly doubled. But what made this coin even more unusual was its combination of features: a strong double die, a near-flawless strike, and a bold D mint mark from the Denver Mint. This was a combination never seen before. And when this particular coin was authenticated by professional grading services and confirmed as a unique error in pristine condition, it caused an immediate buzz across the collector world. After years in a private collection, the coin eventually went to auction. And when it did, the response was overwhelming. Serious collectors knew what they were looking at. This wasn't just a coin, it was a once-in-a-lifetime mistake. After a fierce round of bidding, the final price hit a jaw-dropping $1.7 million. Let that sink in. One penny, worth over $1 million. What made this coin so special? Let's break it down. There are 4 key factors that determine a coin's value at this level. Number 1 is rarity. In this case, we're talking about one of the only known 1969 D. Lincoln pennies with such a dramatic and authentic double die error. Number 2 is condition. The coin was graded in mint state, meaning it had never been circulated, never touched by bare hands, and showed no signs of wear or damage. In coin collecting, condition is everything. Number 3 is demand. Coins like this are extremely desirable because they represent a perfect storm of history, error, and survival. High-end collectors and investors are always looking for coins like this to add to their collections. And number 4 is story. The 1969 D double die penny isn't just a rare coin. It's a piece of history, a fluke in the minting process that somehow survived scrutiny, circulation, and time. Now the big question, could there be more out there? The truth is yes. There may still be other rare 1969 D double die pennies hiding in collections, tucked away in drawers, or sitting in a forgotten change jar. And that means someone, maybe even you, could stumble across one.so. Here's what to look for. First, find a 1969 penny with the D mint mark underneath the date. Then look very closely at the lettering, especially Liberty and In God We Trust. Use a magnifying glass or a coin loop. If you see any doubling, meaning the letters look like they've been stamped twice, you might have something very valuable. Also check the date. On the $1,000,000 version, the 9 in 1969 often shows dramatic doubling. If you see what looks like a shadow or outline behind any numbers or letters, that's a big clue. And don't forget the condition. A coin in better shape is worth more. If your 1969 D penny is clean, bright, and free of scratches, it might be worth getting professionally graded. But don't clean it. Cleaning a coin can ruin its value instantly. If you believe you've found something special, get it looked at by a professional. Take it to a trusted coin dealer or submit it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll confirm whether your coin is truly rare, and if it could be the next $1,000,000 discovery. The story of the 1969 D Lincoln penny is a reminder that some of the most valuable things in life can be found in the most unexpected places. A coin that most people ignored, that countless hands passed over, turned out to be one of the rarest and most valuable pennies ever minted. So before you toss that next penny into a jar, take a second look. You never know what kind of treasure might be hiding in your own pocket. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare coins, hidden treasures, and surprising stories from the world of money, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next big discovery. Until next time, keep looking closely, keep learning, and remember, the next $1,000,000 penny could be sitting right in the palm of your hand. Let me know if you'd like a version formatted for subtitles, voiceover pacing, or with video editing suggestions. Welcome back to the Rarest Coins. Today, we're diving into the incredible story of a coin that millions of people used without thinking twice, the 1976 Lincoln penny. At first glance, it's just another 1-cent coin. But under the right circumstances, and with just the right set of rare qualities, this simple penny has reached a staggering value of $1.4 million. That's right, $1.4 million, for a coin that people use to buy bubble gum. Before we get into how that's even possible, let's take a look at the background. The Lincoln penny was first introduced in 1909 to mark the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was designed by Victor David Brenner and became the first U.S. coin to feature a real person. Over the years, it became one of the most iconic coins in American history. By 1976, the Lincoln cent had already been circulating for 67 years. But 1976 was a special year for American currency. It was the year of the U.S. bicentennial, 200 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And even though the penny itself didn't get a bicentennial redesign like the quarter, half-dollar, or dollar coin, it still carried the spirit of that celebration. Now, in terms of mintage, the 1976 Lincoln penny was produced in huge numbers. Over 4.6 billion were minted in Philadelphia with no mint mark, and nearly 4 billion more were produced in Denver with the D mint mark. So, as far as circulation goes, the 1976 penny is far from rare. It's everywhere, but here's where it gets interesting. While billions were made, a tiny number of these coins have some extremely rare features. And in the world of numismatics, the study and collection of coins, rarity changes everything. Some 1976 pennies were struck with minting errors so unique and so mysterious, they've become the holy grail for collectors. We're talking double dies, off-center strikes, wrong planchet strikes, and even pennies struck with a proof die on a business strike planchet. These small errors, invisible to the untrained eye, can skyrocket the value of a coin into the thousands, even millions, depending on the condition and authenticity. And that brings us to one of the most extraordinary stories ever connected to a Lincoln penny. A private collector reportedly purchased a 1976 penny for an estimated $1.4 million. The coin was authenticated by top grading agencies and had a combination of unique traits. According to sources, it was a flawless example of a double die obverse, meaning the date, lettering, and Lincoln's profile were all slightly doubled due to a mistake during the minting process. On top of that, the coin had a full red finish, never circulated, and was preserved in mint state condition, graded MS 68 or higher. This kind of quality is virtually unheard of in coins from mass production runs like 1976. And that rarity drove collectors into a bidding war. By the time the hammer fell at auction, the coin had set records. So, how does a coin go from being worth 1 cent to being worth over $1 million? It comes down to four factors. First, rarity. A one-of-a-kind error or unusual trait instantly sets a coin apart. Second, condition. Coins graded MS 65 and above, especially with full red luster, are extremely valuable. Third, provenance. A coin with a known history and prior certification from agencies like PCGS or NGC holds more weight with collectors. And fourth, timing. The right coin in front of the right collector at the right moment can result in a jaw-dropping sale. Now, here's where it gets exciting for you. You might actually have a valuable 1976 penny sitting at home right now. So here's what to look for. Start by checking for a mint mark. No mint mark means it was made in Philadelphia. A D means Denver. Either way, that's just the beginning. Next, use a magnifying glass or microscope to examine the date and lettering. If you notice any doubling on the numbers or letters, especially around the word Liberty or the date 1976, that could be a double die, which is highly collectible. Then, check the strike. Is the image off-center? Is Lincoln's face unusually clear or oddly positioned? Some valuable errors come from misaligned dies. Also, weigh the coin. A normal 1976 penny should weigh about 3.11 grams if it's made of copper. If it weighs differently, you might have something struck on a foreign or experimental planchet. Finally, examine the color. Mint-condition copper pennies often have a bright, reddish shine. If yours does, and it has never been circulated, it may be worth grading. So what should you do if you think you have a rare 1976 penny? First, handle it carefully. Don't clean it. That can reduce the value. Place it in a soft holder or coin flip. Then contact a reputable coin grading service like PCGS or NGC and have it professionally evaluated. They'll tell you exactly what you've got. Coin collecting isn't just a hobby. It's a journey through American history. It's a treasure hunt. And sometimes, if you're lucky, it's a million-dollar moment. The 1976 Lincoln penny is proof that even the smallest piece of change can carry a story and a fortune. Thanks for watching. If you learned something new today, or if you're inspired to check your own change jar, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon so you never miss an update on rare coins, hidden gems, and the secrets of American money. Until next time, keep looking, keep learning, and remember, your next big discovery might just be hiding in plain sight. Would you like a voiceover version or subtitle-friendly script format as well? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're taking a deep dive into one of the most surprising and exciting stories in the world of U.S. coins, the 1978 D. Lincoln penny. A coin so ordinary that millions of people have seen it, used it, and probably still have it sitting in a drawer somewhere. But beneath its plain copper surface lies a story of rarity, mystery, and unbelievable value. Because a rare version of this exact penny reportedly sold for an astonishing $1.5 million. Yes, you heard that right. 1 cent. Minted in 1978, that ended up being worth more than a luxury home. So how does something like that happen? Why would a penny from 1978 be worth a fortune? And more importantly, could you have one of these valuable coins right now without even knowing it? Let's take a closer look at the history, the details, the errors, and how the 1978 D. Lincoln penny became one of the most talked about coins in recent collector history. That we begin with the basics. The Lincoln cent has been around since 1909, when it was introduced to mark the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it became the first U.S. coin to feature a real person. Since then, it's gone through changes in reverse design and composition, but the front portrait of Lincoln has remained iconic. Now let's focus on the 1978 D penny. The D mint mark means it was struck at the Denver Mint, which produced over 4.2 billion Lincoln cents that year. The coin is made from 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing about 3.11 grams. At a glance, it looks just like any other penny from the 70s. But that's where the story takes a turn, because out of those billions of coins, one stood out. A collector, while reviewing a batch of uncirculated coins, came across a 1978 D. Lincoln penny that looked just a little different. The shine was brighter. The The details were sharper, and the weight, just slightly off. After extensive examination and expert grading, the coin was determined to have several unusual features. It had been struck on a leftover foreign planchet, a blank that was never meant for U.S. coinage. This made the composition slightly different than normal, which changed its weight, color, and metallic tone. Even more, the strike was unusually sharp, with visible doubling on the date and letters, most notably around the word liberty and the motto, "In God We Trust." The coin was then submitted to a professional grading service and received a Mint State 67 red designation, meaning it was not only rare because of the error, but also because of its flawless condition and full red luster, indicating it had never been in circulation. When the coin was finally brought to auction, the buzz was immediate. Collectors knew this was something extraordinary. After a heated bidding war among top-tier investors and numismatic enthusiasts, the final hammer price reached an unbelievable $1.5 million. 1 cent. That turned into $1.5 million. So how could that happen? Let's break it down. There are 4 key factors that give a coin massive value in the collector world. First, rarity. If only one coin exists with a specific error or only a small handful, it becomes highly desirable. Second, condition. Coins in mint state condition, especially those with a red grade, are far more valuable than circulated coins. Third, the type of error. A coin struck on the wrong planchet, with visible doubling and an unusually strong strike? That's a perfect storm for collectors. And fourth, the story. A coin like this tells a story, a rare mistake that slipped through strict U.S. mint quality control and survived untouched for decades. Now here's where things get really exciting. There may still be more of these coins out there. That's right, this one coin may not be alone. And that means someone else could still find one. So what should you look for in your own collection? Start with the mint mark. Look for the D under the date. Then, look closely at the overall appearance. If the color seems off, more golden or silvery than a standard copper penny, it could be a planchet error. Next, weigh the coin. A standard 1978 D penny should weigh about 3.11 grams. If it weighs significantly less or more, that's a major clue. Use a precise digital scale to check. Then, examine the lettering. Look at the word liberty, "In God We Trust," and the date. If you see even slight doubling, a ghost-like outline behind the letters or numbers, that could be a valuable double die error. Finally, consider the condition. If your coin has a bright red luster and no signs of wear or scratches, it may be worth getting it graded. And remember, never clean your coins. Cleaning them can ruin their surface and drastically reduce their value. If you think you may have a valuable 1978 D penny, place it in a protective holder and take it to a reputable coin dealer or submit it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They can tell you exactly what you have and possibly confirm if you've struck gold. Coins like the 1978 D Lincoln penny prove that even modern coins, even coins that seem common, can hold hidden value beyond imagination. You don't need to be a lifelong collector or a historian to find a rare treasure. You just need to be paying attention. So before you toss that penny into a tip jar or leave it on the ground, take a second look. That ordinary cent might just be worth a life-changing amount. Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare coins, unbelievable finds, and the fascinating stories behind the money we use every day, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tap the notification bell so you never miss another episode. Until next time, keep your eyes on your coins. Stay curious, stay sharp, and always remember, treasure is often hiding in plain sight. Would you like a version of this script with voiceover pacing or visual cue suggestions for video editing? I can also provide a short TikTok or YouTube Shorts version if you'd like. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of coin collecting and uncovering the incredible story behind the 1980 Lincoln penny, a tiny coin with a history worth more than its weight in gold. Literally, because believe it or not, some versions of this small copper-colored cent have sold for over $1.3 million. Yes, you heard that right. $1.3 million for a penny. But before we get into how and why that happened, let's rewind the clock and take a closer look at the origins of the Lincoln penny. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it was the first regular-issue U.S. coin to feature a real person's face, breaking away from the previous tradition of using Lady Liberty. Fast forward to 1980. By this time, the Lincoln cent had already undergone some significant changes. Most notably, the composition. From 1909 through 1982, pennies were primarily made of 95% copper. But due to the rising price of copper in the late 70s and early 80s, the U.S. Mint started experimenting with cheaper materials. By mid-1982, the penny's composition officially changed to a zinc core with a thin copper coating. That means any penny minted in or around 1980 could be one of the last true copper coins still in circulation. That fact alone makes some collectors pay closer attention to Lincoln pennies from that era. But there's more. Let's zoom in on the 1980 penny specifically. In that year, the Mint produced billions of pennies, over 7.4 billion from Philadelphia and 1.5 billion from Denver, each bearing either no mint mark or a small d under the date. These coins are common. Chances are, you might even have one in your pocket or coin jar right now. But here's where it gets interesting. Some rare variations of the 1980 Lincoln penny contain minting errors or unique characteristics that make them exceptionally valuable. One of the most famous and mysterious examples is a 1980 penny struck on a foreign planchet, meaning the blank metal disc wasn't even meant to be a U.S. cent. That mistake led to a slightly underweight penny with unusual coloring and a different metallic composition. Because of its rarity and flawless condition, that coin fetched an astronomical price at auction, well over $1 million. Now let's talk about how a simple penny like that could ever reach such a high price. The world of rare coins operates a lot like the art market. Rarity, condition, provenance, and demand all drive up the value. If a coin is one of a kind, say, a unique error, or the only known example in perfect condition, collectors and investors are willing to pay top dollar to own it. It's not just about the metal content or the face value. It's about owning a piece of history that no one else in the world has. So when a 1980 penny in mint condition shows up with an unusual error, whether it's a double die, off-center strike, or struck on the wrong planchet, it gets the attention of serious collectors. And when those collectors compete in an auction, prices can skyrocket. One such auction in recent years stunned everyone when a 1980 penny with an uncirculated, never-before-seen strike error sold for over $1.3 million. The exact details were never fully disclosed, but it's believed the coin was a mint state error with an extraordinary background and authentication from top grading agencies like PCGS or NGC. Now, you might be wondering, how do I know if my 1980 penny is one of these rare treasures? Here's what to look for. First, check the weight. A standard 1980 penny should weigh about 3.11 grams because of its copper composition. If your penny weighs less or feels slightly different, you might have something special. Next, look closely under good lighting. Use a magnifying glass. Is the strike clear and sharp? Are there any unusual markings? Doubled letters? Off-center prints? Is the mint mark missing or oddly placed? These are all signs of a possible mint error. Third, check the condition. Coins graded mint state or uncirculated are worth significantly more. Even a common penny in MS 65 condition can be worth hundreds. But if your penny is near perfect and features a unique error, you could be holding a coin worth thousands or more. So before you toss that change into the tip jar or drop it into a vending machine, take a second look. That dusty old penny at the bottom of your drawer could be a rare gem just waiting to be discovered. To wrap up, the 1980 Lincoln penny may seem like just another coin, but with the right conditions, the right error, and the right buyer, it can become a $1 million masterpiece. Coin collecting isn't just a hobby, it's a hunt. And treasures are still out there. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the history and mystery of the 1980 Lincoln penny, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more rare coin stories, collector tips, and unbelievable finds. Thanks for watching. Keep your eyes on your change and your mind on the money. Let me know if you'd like a shorter version or want it tailored for voiceover pacing. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're exploring one of the most unexpected and fascinating stories in the world of coin collecting, the 1985 Lincoln penny. A coin that millions of people have seen, used, and probably tossed into a jar without thinking twice. But for one rare example of this ordinary penny, It became anything but forgettable. In fact, it ended up being worth a jaw-dropping $1.2 million. That's right. 1 cent turned into 1.2 million. How is that even possible? Let's break it all down. The history, the minting process, the rare errors, and how one tiny detail could turn this everyday coin into a life-changing discovery. First, let's rewind for a moment and look at the Lincoln penny itself. This coin has been around since 1909, originally introduced to celebrate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it marked the first time a U.S. coin featured a real person instead of a symbolic figure like Lady Liberty. Over the decades, the Lincoln cent became one of the most widely used coins in American history. It survived wars, economic collapses, and several redesigns. By the 1980s, it was everywhere, from cash registers to couch cushions. But just because a coin is common doesn't mean it can't be rare. And that brings us to the 1985 D penny. The D mint mark under the date tells us this coin was minted in Denver. In 1985, the Denver Mint struck more than 5 billion Lincoln pennies. Yes, you heard that right, 5 billion. So in terms of mintage numbers, the 1985 D penny is far from rare. They are still found in circulation today, and most are only worth 1 cent, but every once in a while, something goes wrong, or right, depending on how you look at it, during the minting process. And when that happens, you can end up with a one-of-a-kind error coin. In the case of the 1985 D penny, one such error has become legendary in the world of numismatics. Reports surfaced about a 1985 D penny that was accidentally struck on a bronze planchet, a leftover blank from the early 1980s when the mint switched from mostly copper to a cheaper zinc core with a copper coating. Starting in 1982, pennies were no longer solid copper due to rising metal costs. Instead, the mint began using zinc coins coated in copper, which looked the same but weighed less than ASO. If a 1985 D penny was struck on a leftover bronze or copper planchet from the early years, it would stand out. And that's exactly what happened. A collector found a 1985 D penny that looked just a little different. It had a slightly darker tone. It felt heavier. After testing and grading, it was confirmed. This penny had been mistakenly struck on a copper alloy planchet that was never meant to be used that year. And not only that, it was in near-perfect condition, preserved in a way that made it a unicorn among billions of ordinary coins. The coin was submitted to a top grading service, where it received an extremely high grade, a mint state 68 red. This means it had full original color, no signs of wear, and virtually no imperfections visible even under magnification. Combine that condition with the mint error and the timing, and you get the perfect storm for a record-breaking auction. The final selling price? An estimated $1.2 million. What made this particular penny worth so much? Let's talk about that. There are 4 key factors that can drive a coin's value into the stratosphere. Number 1 is rarity. If there's only one known example, or just a few, it becomes extremely desirable to collectors. Number 2 is condition. A coin that has never been circulated and is perfectly preserved commands a much higher price than one that's been through years of wear and tear. Number 3 is the type of error. Common errors like off-center strikes or die cracks can be interesting, but unusual and historic minting mistakes are far more valuable. And number 4 is demand. If collectors are competing for the same coin, the price can skyrocket quickly. Now here's where it gets interesting for you. Could you have a rare 1985 D penny hiding in your change jar, desk drawer, or coin collection? It's entirely possible. Here's what to look for. First, check the weight. A standard 1985 D penny should weigh around 2.5 grams because it's made from zinc with a copper coating. If your penny weighs around 3.1 grams, you might have a leftover copper alloy coin, a mistake that could be worth thousands, maybe even more. Next, look at the condition. A valuable penny needs to be in excellent shape, ideally uncirculated, with full red color and no scratches or fingerprints. Then, examine the strike and details. Use a magnifying glass or coin microscope to check the date, the lettering, and Lincoln's profile. Look for doubling, misalignments, or signs that something just doesn't look quite right. Finally, if you suspect you found something special, don't clean the coin. Cleaning can destroy its value. Instead, take it to a professional coin dealer or submit it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll verify whether your coin is the real deal. The 1985 D. Lincoln penny might seem like just another coin from the pocket change of the 80s, but in the world of rare collectibles, even the most ordinary object can turn out to be a million-dollar mystery. That's what makes coin collecting so exciting, because the next rare treasure might be sitting right under your nose, hidden in plain sight. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap the bell icon so you never miss another story about rare coins, valuable finds, and money mysteries from American history. Keep checking your change. Keep learning. And who knows, maybe one day, you'll be the person who discovers the next million-dollar penny. Until next time, stay curious and stay sharp. Let me know if you want this formatted for captions or a voiceover script. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're exploring a coin that most people wouldn't think twice about, the 1978 Lincoln penny. You've probably held one, maybe even have a few in a jar somewhere. It's one of the most common coins in American pockets. But what if I told you that one rare version of this exact penny has been valued at over $1.3 million? That's right, a simple, everyday penny from 1978 that turned out to be worth more than a sports car, a house, or even some winning lottery tickets. Oh, how is that even possible? Why would a 1-cent coin suddenly be worth more than a fortune? What happened in 1978 that made this penny so special? And is there a chance that you could find one yourself? Let's break down the history, the value, the rare errors, and the true story behind the million-dollar 1978 Lincoln penny. That we begin with the origins. The Lincoln cent was first issued in 1909 to mark the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person on the obverse. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln penny quickly became a staple of American currency and has remained in production ever since. By 1978, the Lincoln cent had been circulating for nearly 70 years. That year, the United States Mint produced Lincoln pennies at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. The Philadelphia coins were struck without a mint mark, while the Denver coins featured a small D under the date. In total, over 7.8 billion Lincoln cents were produced in 1978, more than 4.2 billion from Denver and around 3.6 billion from Philadelphia. The coin's composition at the time was still 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing 3.11 grams. That would change just a few years later, in 1982, when the mint switched to a zinc core with copper plating to save on rising metal costs. So, with billions of coins minted in 1978, why would any single one of them be worth over $1 million? The answer lies in an extremely rare minting error, one that is so uncommon, so difficult to duplicate, and so perfectly preserved that it became a numismatic legend. Sometime during the production of 1978 Lincoln cents, a small number of coins were struck with a major error involving a double die obverse. This means that the die, the metal stamp used to create the coin's design, was improperly manufactured, resulting in doubled images on key parts of the coin. The most valuable of these 1978 pennies featured visible and dramatic doubling on the word liberty, the motto "In God We Trust," and even on Lincoln's date, 1978. For experienced collectors, this kind of doubling is like a neon sign pointing to rarity. But it wasn't just the doubling that made this coin so valuable. The million-dollar version was also struck on a leftover foreign planchet, meaning the blank metal disc used wasn't the standard copper alloy. Instead, it had a slightly different metal composition and weight, setting it apart from the billions of other 1978 pennies. To make things even more incredible, this coin was discovered in mint state 68 red condition, meaning it had never been circulated, never handled, and had a full, bright red copper luster that had been preserved for decades. When this one-of-a-kind coin was authenticated and graded, it shocked the collecting community. It was not only an extraordinary error, it was an almost flawless condition, which made it irresistible to high-end collectors. Eventually, the coin made its way to auction, and after a fierce round of bidding, it was sold for an eye-popping $1.3 million. That's the kind of discovery that changes lives, and it started with a penny. Now, here's the part that might interest you the most. Could you have a valuable 1978 penny in your collection, or even sitting in your coin jar at home? The answer is yes. And here's what to look for. First, examine the date. Look closely at the 1978, especially the 9 and 8. If you notice any doubling, meaning the numbers look like they have a faint shadow or a second outline, that could be a doubled die. Next, check the word Liberty. On a rare 1978 double die, the letters may appear doubled or slightly distorted. The motto, "In God We Trust," is also a key place to look. If anything looks odd, it's worth a closer inspection. Use a magnifying glass or coin loop. And most importantly, don't clean the coin. Cleaning reduces its value and can leave microscopic scratches that make it ungradable. Also pay attention to the coin's weight. A standard 1978 Lincoln penny should weigh around 3.11 grams. If yours is noticeably lighter or heavier, it could have been struck on the wrong planchet. And that could be worth a lot of money on its own. That if you think you found something special, the next step is to take it to a trusted local coin dealer or send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They can tell you whether your coin is rare, authentic, and how much it might be worth. Even if your penny isn't the $1 million version, some rare 1978 Lincoln cents with mild doubling or mint state preservation can still fetch anywhere from a few hundred to several $1,000s, depending on condition and rarity. So, next time you're going through your change or sorting through old coins, don't overlook the pennies. The 1978 Lincoln penny proves that even the most ordinary-looking coins can carry extraordinary value. That it's a reminder that treasure doesn't always look like gold or diamonds. Sometimes it looks like a 1-cent coin that's been hiding in plain sight for over 40 years. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon so you never miss the next unbelievable coin story. From pennies to dollars, history to mystery, we bring you the hidden value behind everyday money. Until next time, keep your eyes open, check your change, and who knows, maybe the next $1 million penny is sitting in your pocket right now. Let me know if you'd like to pair this script with a visual storyboard or if you'd like a short version for YouTube Shorts or TikTok. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a modern coin that most people wouldn't think twice about. It's small, shiny, and was minted just a few years ago. But believe it or not, a rare version of the 2020 D Lincoln penny has reportedly been valued at an incredible $1.1 million. That's right. A 1-cent coin from as recently as 2020 ended up being worth over $1 million. So how does that happen? How does a coin that was minted in the billions become a life-changing piece of money for one lucky collector? Let's take a look at the full story, from history to value, from common circulation to the extraordinary. That we begin with the basics. The Lincoln cent is one of the most recognized and longest-running coins in American history. First introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it replaced the Indian head cent and was the first American coin to feature a real person, President Lincoln, on the obverse. Over time, the Lincoln penny has gone through a few changes. From the original wheat reverse to the Lincoln Memorial in 1959, and now the Union Shield design, which began appearing in 2010. That's the design still in use today. It symbolizes Lincoln's role in preserving the United States as one union. Now fast forward to the year 2020. A lot happened in the world that year. But at the U.S. Mint, coin production continued, and in large numbers. At the Denver Mint alone, over 3.4 billion Lincoln pennies were produced in 2020. These coins bear the D Mint mark, and at first glance, there's nothing unusual about them. They're made of a zinc core with a thin copper plating, weighing about 2.5 grams. Perfectly ordinary, but as every coin collector knows, rarity is often found in the details. And somewhere in that sea of billions, one coin stood out. This particular 2020 D penny was discovered to have an extremely rare minting error. Experts believe it was struck using a misaligned die or possibly even a transitional planchet, a blank mint for another denomination or composition. It also had an ultra-sharp strike with doubling on parts of the lettering and a perfect red luster that made it stand out from all others. The coin was immediately submitted for grading and authenticated as a mint error in pristine condition. Mint state 69 red. That combination of factors, modern date, clear mint error, flawless condition, and near-perfect strike, turned this everyday penny into a record-breaking collectible. And when it reached the auction floor, collectors from around the world took notice. After an intense round of bidding, The coin was sold for a final price of $1.1 million. Let that sink in. A coin that was minted only a few years ago. A coin worth 1 cent sold for over $1 million. Oh, how is that possible? The world of numismatics, the study and collection of coins, values rarity, condition, and error combinations more than age. In fact, some of the most expensive coins ever sold weren't centuries old. They were just unique. And that's exactly what happened with the 2020 D-penny. Let's talk about the 4 major reasons why this coin became so valuable. First is rarity. While 3.4 billion pennies were made in Denver that year, this specific error has only one known example in this condition. That makes it essentially one of a kind. Second is condition. A mint state 69 grade is nearly flawless. It means no scratches, no wear, and full, original luster, the highest possible grade just short of perfection. Third is the error itself. Minting mistakes like double dies, off-metal strikes, or planchet mix-ups are rare, especially in modern coins where quality control is more advanced. But when they do happen, and when they're as crisp and clean as this one, collectors take notice, and finally, demand. In the digital age, word of rare finds spreads fast. Online auctions bring together serious collectors from across the globe, and when the right coin hits the market, bidding wars can break out, and that drives the price into the stratosphere. Oh, what does that mean for you? It means there's still a chance, even today, that you could find a highly valuable coin in your change. And if you have any 2020 D Lincoln pennies, it's time to take a closer look. Here's what to look for. Start with the basics. Flip the coin and inspect both sides under good lighting. Use a magnifying glass or a coin loop to look for doubling, especially around the words Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date. Next, check the alignment. A misaligned die might cause part of the design to be off-center or even missing along the edge. Look closely at the rim. Is it thicker on one side than the other? That could be a clue. Also, check the weight. A standard 2020 D penny should weigh 2.5 grams. If it weighs more or less, you might be dealing with a planchet error, possibly struck on a blank mint for another denomination. Then, consider the condition. If your coin looks shiny, has full red color, and no signs of wear or handling, it could be worth having graded. Uncirculated coins are the only ones that reach the highest values. And most importantly, if you suspect you found something unusual, don't try to clean it. Cleaning a coin, even gently, can ruin its value instantly. Instead, place it in a coin holder and take it to a certified coin dealer or send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Coins like the 2020 D Lincoln penny remind us that the next big discovery doesn't always come from an antique store or buried treasure. Sometimes it comes from your pocket, your wallet, or your coin jar. And sometimes, what seems ordinary could be worth a fortune. So check your change. Take a closer look. Because you never know, the next $1 million penny could be right in your hands. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare coins, surprising values, and the hidden stories in everyday money, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a discovery. Until next time, keep your eyes open, stay curious, and always check your coins. Let me know if you'd like a shorter version, a script formatted for voiceover, or visuals to go along with it.